Welcome to video 5 of chapter 12. We will look at bullying um, in this last section of chapter 12 and just a couple of definitions to get started. Bullying occurs when a victim is exposed repeatedly and over time to negative actions on the part of one or more other students. And certainly cyberbullying has become more of an issue over the last couple of decades with the rise of social media and social platforms, and it involves the use of electronic technologies, including emails, text messages, digital images, web pages, blogs, and chat rooms to harm others. And it's a somewhat harder form of bullying to control. I mean, people are bullying from their own homes using electronic technology, and it's often very hard to catch bullies in the act of bullying through electronic means. um just some figures here. I won't spend too much time here, but I just want to look at the overall rates at the top of this chart. How many people have been bullied at school, and this is from a 2013 study where they um, surveyed 12 to 18-year-olds, and what they found was that the percent of males that had been bullied was at 21.5%. So that's a little bit more than one out of every five males. And for females, it was at 23.7%. So almost one out of every four females had been bullied at some point between 12 and 18 years of age. Um, as you can see, they also include different types of bullying here. And you can look more at that on your own. Boys and girls can be bullies as well as victims. More bullies are male than female. More victims are female compared to males. Boys and girls may use different strategies to bully. However, boys tend to use more physical strategies. Girls use more emotional or psychological strategies. Um, there's also a few family characteristics that are common of children who engage in bullying behavior. I'll just list some of them here. It's typical that they have an insecure attachment to their parents. So they already started with, the first relationship in life that they had was not a good one. And so that may set the stage for this bullying behavior later in childhood or adolescence. The fact that they didn't have a secure attachment to begin life. Um, Lack of parental supervision is common. It, the use of punitive discipline within the home, because you are, providing a model when you hit children as a parent, and you're providing a model that this is a way to solve problems, or to deal with situations that you want to change by using physical force. Um, Family violence, and this also acts as a model. So, like, maybe the child wasn't, physically punished themselves, but maybe they grew up witnessing violence within the home, such as some form of spousal abuse, where they've seen their parents use violence, and so this once again this would provide them with a model. I keep going back to that idea that it would provide them with a mental model that this is the way to use aggression in order to resolve disputes. And so they say, okay, like my father, he's hit my mother when she didn't listen to him. So when I can hit another person when they don't listen to me. Um, Also, a couple more factors, family factors. Parents often may be uninvolved in the child's life, and so the child may feel unloved or uncared for, and that's very typical of bullies as well. I mean, it's rare to find a bully that has a very healthy, satisfying home life. There's usually you usually can find one or more of these issues that I've talked about. There can be many negative short and long-term consequences of bullying. Once again, I'll just go through a partial list here. And one thing that's common is suicide ideation, as well as actual suicides. But suicide ideation means thinking about suicide. And we know that some people eventually do carry through with it after being bullied. A decline in academic performance is common. Um, Depression, anxiety, is certainly expected. Sometimes, you know, if a victim of bullying, it may result in them engaging in some kind of criminal behavior. There's a greater chance, at least it makes it a greater chance. And there's also greater likelihood as well of them using drugs. Um, and we find a higher incident rate among bullying victims than among overall teenage percentages. Um, when we look at preventing bullying, I like this idea of that they present in the bullying circle, which we'll look at here. And so you can see that it's identifying different groups of people. So at the top in A we have the students who actually bully. I mean, kind of the top of the pyramid. I mean, the ones that actually lead the bullying and engage in bullying, but they would they would not exist without some of these other groups. So often one of the reasons they bully is that they have followers or what's called henchmen, and these are students that take a positive attitude towards bullying, and they may actually take an active role in the bullying, but they don't start it normally. So they kind of follow the main bully, and then they get involved after the main bully starts their bullying. Okay, and a lot of times, the actual bully, the leader, is depending on these followers, and if they weren't there, then they may not bully. And then you have like the group of supporters or passive bullies. They support the bullying. They don't actually take part, but they will laugh or egg the bully on, and they go on, do this now, do this. And so they're supporting it with their presence and their behavior. And so once again, this contributes to the likelihood of bullying. You got your passive supporters or possible bullies. They like the bullying, but they don't actually, you know, necessarily call out or do anything to get involved. And then you start getting towards the defenders. You got disengaged onlookers. They don't take a stand either way. It's kind of like they don't want to be involved. You got possible defenders. They really would like the bullying to stop, but they're afraid to get involved. Um, and so they end up doing nothing. And then there's actually defenders that try to stop the bullying. And the reason you try to identify all these groups and talk about this bullying circle is that if you can make some of these possible defenders and some of these disengaged onlookers become defenders, like perhaps through a school education program and what to do when you see bullying. I mean, you all of a sudden you would have a much larger group of defenders that would help to stop bullying. And perhaps if you put some of the blame not only on the actual bully, but on their followers and on the supporters or the passive bullies, I mean, that you could help to eliminate the stage that's set for bullying. I mean, I think that anyone that stands around and laughs at bullying, they're not equally guilty as the main bully, but they're playing a role, and in in some of the school programs that have come out, they let the students know that if you do anything to encourage the bullying, you will face discipline as well. And so it's about trying to move people down this chart, making the possible defenders and disengaged onlookers actually defenders, and making the followers or the supporters, like make it, getting them to stop doing their part to encourage the bullying. And so it's not, I like this approach because it's not just saying, oh, we got to find, the one bully that's doing bullying. It's about creating a different atmosphere so that bullying is just not tolerated among the student population at a school because of the rules that have been in place and the education that's gone on. And so this is one approach that's used. It's spreading the blame around to throughout the whole student population, because everyone falls somewhere in one of these groups, and it's about you could do better, and so it's encouraging all students to do better, even though they're not actually bullies themselves, but you could do better to defend, or you could do better to walk away rather than laugh at bullying. And so I do like this approach. Okay, just some figures. I just wanted to show you this graph here because a lot of people are under the impression that bullying is continued to rise, and it's certainly not true. You can look at this graph here. This is total victimization per 1,000, and you can see that going back to 1992 up to 2013, so it's about a 20-year span. I mean, the rates have certainly dropped. The thing is, we hear about it a lot more, because of social media and the internet. I mean, there's a lot of reporting when something happens, and often there's video or things like that. And so, a lot of people are under the impression that it's gotten worse. It hasn't. It does not. I'm not saying it's not a problem, because it certainly still is, and we still want to address it and reduce it. But there have been good efforts over the last few decades that have led to decreases in overall bullying and school violence. And finally, efforts to reduce school violence have included services that are designed to help individual children who are at risk of perpetrating violence, as well as school-wide interventions designed to change the school climate. So when I talked about the bullying circle, that's kind of an idea that it's like a school-wide intervention to try to reach all the students in a school climate to get them all to do a little bit better at helping to prevent bullying, and educating them on what steps they should take when they witness bullying. How can they help to defend it, for instance? So that's one approach. The other approach, as it mentions here, is help individual children who are at risk of perpetrating violence. And this kind of goes back to the sociometry that I talked about in an earlier video, where you identify different categories of children. And remember, at that time, I told you that we're most worried about the rejected children. Those are often the ones that end up becoming bullies, because those are the ones that are disliked already in the classrooms. So they don't have, good social support, and if we can identify those who we think are at risk of becoming bullies and try to reach them before they actually start bullying, it's much easier to reach them and change their thinking before they start bullying, rather than catching a bully in the act and telling them it's wrong. It's about finding the at-risk populations, which children might become bullies, and doing things early to while they're still children, before they become teenagers, to kind of help change their thinking, and to teach them social skills, so that they become less rejected within the student populations. Okay, and that will conclude chapter 12.